Welcome to the Homeownership podcast presented by Movementum Realty, located in Hanover, Massachusetts. This series covers all things real estate and the best practices for buying, selling, and owning property. Now here is your host, Sean Maloney.
Welcome to episode 216, Buying a House. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Maloney. Thanks for joining me this week. This week, I want to talk to you about buying a house. There are lots of renters out there. There are lots of people that maybe already own a house that are thinking of buying. All the different reasons that you could be buying a house for someone else, buying a house for an investment. Just want to talk a little bit about buying a house and the idea that it's one of the greatest achievements in life. House isn't always just a great way to live. It's also a great way to build wealth. When you're paying your mortgage, you're building wealth. The reason for this is a few different factors. One of them is because when you're paying your payment to the mortgage, you're paying something down called principal. So this is the idea that you're paying down the balance on the loan and you're slowly but surely building up the amount of value you have there, because the property value versus the loan value, that's going to be what we call equity. As that equity builds, you have more and more ability in the future to maybe sell it and obtain that equity, use it somewhere else to make a purchase, or maybe eventually you just don't have a mortgage and you own the property outright and all you got to do is pay taxes. It doesn't matter which way you're looking at it. Both are a great method to become more wealthy and to become more financially stable. Renting a house just really provides temporary shelter at 100% of the cost, whereas homeownership shelters you and builds your wealth at the same time. As a renter, when we pay our rent, the entire check is for maintaining the home. And a lot of renters get mad when they learn this, but think about this, right? The rental business is a business. So that means the owner of the business needs to make money. Not just wants to, but needs to in order to survive, right? So some tenants are shocked when they come to find out that it's actually cheaper to own a home than it is to rent. And it's like, well, what did you think? You're paying for that house. The landlord certainly isn't subsidizing your life, right? They're not taking on some of the bills so that you don't have as many expenses and, oh, I feel bad for this guy, so I'm renting to him. No, that's what parents do. That's what people that know you do, but this isn't what landlords do. They're thinking, okay, if I rent this place and I got to cut the lawn, I need to go and trim the bushes, I need to pay the taxes, I got to pay the water bill, I got to pay to re-roof the place. You, the renter, pay for all that. Whereas as an owner, when you're paying your mortgage, that principal payment that's going down is not the only place you're building wealth. The other place you're building wealth is the appreciation in value. As that home appreciates, your equity continues to grow if you decide to sell at that time. So that brings me to another very important subject. I feel like a lot of the news media outlets really have home ownership and purchase wrong, because they often talk about, well, what if the market falls? The market's crashing. Well, we all need a place to live. If we think a little more on a permanent scale of like, we're not just moving because we feel like it, we're moving because we have to, we often don't have to move. So when the market does shrink down, it doesn't mean that you should liquidate your real estate assets and suddenly just get rid of them. This is what a lot of people do, same in the stock market, right? They hear about a stock crash and so they sell it. Why? Because they don't want to lose everything. Well, unlike the stock market, which you actually oftentimes could lose anything and everything, the real estate market, there's certain, not rules or laws, because it's certainly totally possible to lose everything, I guess. But at the end of the day, real estate, we own something that has more of what we call intrinsic value, which means it's a physical object and you can actually touch it and there's value in that. So oftentimes, if we just hang on to the real estate, it will circle back. Stock's not the same, but that just is one more reason that buying a house is a great option to achieve massive wealth in the future. Because remember, it's the buy in, sell out. You hear friends talk about, oh, I took a $20,000 loss on my stocks yesterday. And it's like, well, did you sell? And they say, no. So this is no different than walking into the casino and putting $1 in the slot machine, going up by $10, going down by $9, and leaving the door saying, man, I lost $9 today. No, you left the exact same way you came in. You left with $1 and you came in with $1. Didn't matter that you were up 10 and down 9, any of these other things. The true value was where you originally bought in and sold out at. And if you can remember that, then you'll start to really think to yourself, geez, a lot of what I'm hearing when it comes to losing value doesn't really make sense because 100% of my rent is disappearing. Whereas I'm a gambler, I guess, by buying a house, but my gamble is a little more insured by the idea that I actually own something versus I guarantee you 100% of the time your rent is going to be gone at the end of the month and due again. So that's the best advice I have for you when it comes to you should get into buying a house. The other thing I wanted to mention is buying a house is more obtainable than a lot of people think. If you get a great agent, they can teach you all about things such as, say, seller's concession. Seller's concession is a way to ask the seller to return some money at closing to take care of closing costs and prepaids. So this means maybe you just have your down payment and you were worried about closing costs. With the right type of offer, we can get that covered by the seller. So there's lots of different options. Well, I couldn't get a loan. Where did you apply? What did you apply for? Let's talk a little more. The word mortgage is not just one thing. Mortgage is like the word car. There's Audi, there's Ford, there's Toyota. In mortgages, there's all different banks, there's all different lenders, there's all different mortgage brokers, there's all different credit unions. They all have different products that can offer different things. If you're looking for a guide that can help you in the purchase of a home, look no further. Reach out to us over at Momentum Realty. We'd love to help you and teach you more about buying houses. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode, and I look forward to talking to you next week. Make sure to pound that subscribe button for me, and have a great week.